The 2010 Tzu Chi Seminar for Volunteer Trainees kicked off on Sunday, October 3rd at the Tzu Chi Guandu Grounds in Taipei, Taiwan. The four-day workshop is joined by participants from different parts of the world, including 8 Southeast Asian countries, as well as Australia, New Zealand, the United States, Bolivia, and South Africa, totaling 942 volunteers from 13 countries, all of whom aspire to commit themselves to the well-being of the needy.
Hailing from Malaysia, Indonesia and the Philippines, these people have gathered at the Tzu Chi Humanities Center in the Guandu Grounds in Taipei, Taiwan for the 2010 Tzu Chi Seminar for Volunteer Trainees. Among the participants, Li Nanjin from Malaysia has been serving with Tzu Chi for 2 years.
What impressed me the most is how volunteers do what they preach, whether it's environmental protection, caring for the poor, or documenting Tzu Chi's charity commitment. Another thing I've learned is the importance of humility.
Humbled by the power of compassion, some volunteers have learned to re-examine their own family commitments and to appreciate their loved ones even more.
Having a family isn't just about providing for your wife and children, it's more about spending as much time with your loved ones as possible.
My affinity with Tzu Chi has matured. I must say when the time has come, you don't need to be prompted to join Tzu Chi.
One after another, volunteers recall with fondness their personal encounters with Tzu Chi. Later in the day, 942 trainees headed for Hualien for the rest of their 4-day seminar. Yesterday, the 2010 Tzu Chi Seminar for volunteer trainees from outside Taiwan came to an end in Hualien after more than 800 fledgling volunteers from 13 different countries enjoyed 4 days of learning about the history of Tzu Chi, as well as sharing with one another their own personal stories about how they became volunteers. But going back to Tuesday, while the seminar was still running, the attendees paid a visit to Tzu Chi's headquarters, the Jingsi abode in Hualien, Taiwan. Through a guided tour around the place where it all started, the overseas visitors, many of whom had never been to Taiwan before, let alone the Jingsi abode, were very much moved by the pilgrimage to Tzu Chi's heartland.
Participants of the 2010 Tzu Chi Seminar for Volunteer Trainees are taking a long-awaited tour around Tzu Chi's spiritual homeland, Jingsi Abode in Hualien, Taiwan. Among those who are simply excited to be here is Lin Songyuan, a man from Malaysia who was a heavy gambler and a tyrant at home before he joined Tzu Chi.
Before, I had no idea what suffering or blessing meant. I really had no clue. But after taking part in Tzu Chi's home visitations, I realized I was so much better off than many other people out there.
Having slowly transformed into a gentler soul, Lin Songyuan only has one wish on this trip to Taiwan.
I really wanted to see Master Zheng Yan, but I was also not looking forward to saying goodbye to her so soon because I have to go back to Malaysia. I want to make a vow to the Master that I will devote myself to Tzu Chi's cause for many a lifetime, and even though I'm quite far away from the Master, I'll give my all to Tzu Chi.
Also deeply moved by her encounter with Tzu Chi is Yang Wei-fen from Japan, a recent care recipient turned volunteer. In her lowest point in life, it was Tzu Chi volunteers who helped her see the brighter side of things.
As soon as I stepped into the Jingsi abode, I broke down uncontrollably in tears. It was a mixture of sorrow and joy because my husband has recently passed away, and coming here feels like coming back home.
Both Lin Songyuan and Yang Wei-fen are a reflection of the spiritual gratification that is commonly experienced by the seminar attendees as they make their way through the Jingsi abode and immerse themselves in a tranquil and heartwarming ambience.
This year's Tzu Chi Seminar for Volunteer Trainees was held in Hualien, Taiwan from October 3rd to the 6th and attended by over 900 participants from 13 different countries. During the 4-day gathering, attendees learned more about Buddhism and further familiarized themselves with Tzu Chi's values and practices. At the closing ceremony, the volunteers shared personal stories of growth and spiritual advancement and testified how sharing love with others had enriched their lives.
Volunteers of a multitude of cultural and religious backgrounds take to the stage to voice their determination on the path of charity. Slamet Moyono from Indonesia is happy that he can contribute to the well-being of others even without an arm.
My right arm is amputated, so I appeal to you to be appreciative of being simply healthy and complete.
I just want to say that I'm so happy and grateful to be here with all of you.
At the closing ceremony for the 2010 Tzu Chi Seminar for Volunteer Trainees, the congregation of more than 900 participants from all over the world listens to a personal speech by Master Zheng Yan, who encourages the care providers to rally more like-minded people to offer their service to humanity.
能救人的种子，一生无量，无量从一生。从那一滴呢善良的心啊，造福。这样呢，就可以不断延伸出来呢，一粒种子的，再一粒种子不断的扩大，小小的一念心的爱，就可以成就了大大的事业。
Master Zheng Yan also reminds all to seize the moment to make the world a better place.
你既然发心，方向是对的。就是你一生中的都要把握的啊，所以你我有缘呐，这个缘呢真的很奇妙哦。但愿我们的缘呐是生生世世哈，是永恒的。祝福大家，人人呢用心造福啊。
Every one of these volunteers is a seed that will sprout and connect with one another into a web of love to embrace and help those in the dark corners.